Greetings, everyone. Welcome to week 7 of the course, and things are about to get a little more challenging than they have been for the first few weeks. So what we're going to be doing is the first essay we wrote about ourselves and our learning to write to become more literate. The second essay was tying ourselves into some well-known writers and what they had to say about writing. Third essay, we're moving into a more academic realm. Not that you weren't really doing academic writing, but now we're going to work with some more challenging texts, and I'm asking you to work your ideas into those. And so all of these come from a notion that, again, that the only thing we really transfer in a class like this is the ability to develop awareness of audience and purpose, and you are, in some respects, the audience of this class. The purpose of this class is to help you be better writers, and there's a discussion around that, and I want you to come into that discussion and see what you make of it, and maybe understand a little bit more what this class does in the teaching of writing. In some ways, it is become like an introduction to sociology, an introduction to psychology, an introduction to fields of that sort. I guess we don't have an introduction to history or anything like that, but it is meant to be a broader introduction to writing studies, the study of writing, and since we write, I think it's a good idea to study writing. So there's a number of concerns that come with that, and so I'm having you read about those concerns this week. You choose between 4 essays, and 2 are rather long, I suspect you'll think, and 2 are reasonably short, and you're to read and annotate 3 of those 4. My expectation is you will read the 2 shorter ones and choose between one of the longer ones, and that is perfectly fine. I kind of went into this assignment expecting that. You are not a slacker if you do 2 of the 2 shorter ones and one of the longer ones. And the flip side is, well, you might impress me if you read and respond to the 2 longer ones and one of the shorter ones, because you've taken on a more challenging reading task than I'm asking you to, but if you want to do that, go for it. So I want to give you a brief rundown on the 4 essays and what's in them so you can help choose. So I'm going to start with the first one, Occupy Writing Studies, Rethinking College Composition for the Needs of the Teaching Majority. This teaching majority, it says, by challenging misconceptions about students and instructors to your campuses, this article critically examines practices of knowledge-making in writing studies, arguing for the repositioning of writing instruction at 2-year colleges from the margins to the center of the profession. And their argument here is that, I forget the numbers and I'm not going to look through here, but a pretty huge chunk of the college-going population is at community colleges. It might be over 50%, I can't remember, but it's up there. And the problem that they are taking on is that most of the discussion is happening at the 4-year institutions, and often the elite, I'll call them 4-year institutions, what we call the R1s, the Research 1 institutions. In our state, that would be Washington State University, University of Washington. Those are the only R1s. Gonzaga and Whitworth will probably fall into the small liberal arts college, whereas Eastern Washington is a regional university. I don't know what is called their Carnegie ranking. That R1 is a Carnegie ranking. So anyhow, the others are not Carnegie rankings, R1, R2, that sort of thing. But anyway, so most of the study happens at those institutions, and we get a distinctly different student body. And even if the student bodies were more comparable for all kinds of reasons, we still need to look at where the huge chunk of students are being educated, and that's at community colleges like Spokane Falls. And so this examines the need to pay more attention to students like yourself when doing engaging in scholarship about the teaching of writing and writing students. So people like you are not ignored. And I have to admit, I do a number of things at the national level And so often the language excludes what is happening at community colleges, though many of the more thoughtful people engaged in scholarship are taking into account community colleges. They understand these things, and in fact, the leading organization for the teaching of composition, the Conference on College Composition and Communication, has many times had national leadership from community college faculty. So we're not entirely ignored, but this is a pretty recent article, just a year old, and so it shows it's still a concern. So anyhow, that's one of them. So the need to study people like me as a teacher and people like you as a student to understand what's going on in this world. The next one is Patrick Sullivan's What is College Level Writing? Doesn't provide us with a abstract, but Patrick Sullivan is a leader in the discussion of how do we define college level writing, how do we distinguish it from what is appropriate for high school writing, that sort of thing. And it touches on a number of things that I hope you will find interesting, and I think you will see, and I hope you will see reflected in this class. We work hard at this college to make sure you get what you need. The days of the high school with ashtrays, as community colleges have been often portrayed, is long past, but sometimes we need to educate students and actually high school faculty about that. By the same token, we need to work with high school faculty so they can have a better sense of what students are asked to when they get to college. And so this is part of that discussion. What does it mean to be a college writer? And so Sullivan delves into that. He actually has edited 2 books, both of which share this title, What is College Level Writing? And so it's an important discussion, and it'll be interesting to see what you think about it. So the next one is, what do professors really say about college writing? And so somebody responded, I think, about how they appreciated and found it interesting that at least one of the professors said that what is most important is the awareness of audience and purpose. I guess I should be looking at this so you don't see me that. But I think, you know, that's an important thing. Now, I believe with this study, I can't remember, it says in a follow-up to their previous article, the authors report on focus group discussions about writing in which college teachers from across the curriculum participated, implications for the teaching of writing are described. So this is faculty in other disciplines, not just English teachers, which could be a rather skewed view. We have our own notions about what is good about writing and that sort of thing. So a good one, you know, so you'll see that, again, it's not at Spokane Falls, but it is a good idea to see what do professors want, and you might consider, you know, how is this class giving you what these other professors say they want in student writing. So that is a way to tie things in. You know, we're talking about what is college writing, what do professors say about it, how do we get you there, that kind of thing. Am I doing a good job getting you there? I'm not won't hold it against you if you critique this class and if you see things that might be more helpful, that kind of thing. And all that brings us to the next essay, listening to students, new insights on their college writing expectations, and how students have you know, been surprised by college level writing. Many expect it to be as it was in high school. I think I make the major distinction that in talking with high school faculty, and I'm working on my second or third project with high school faculty about easing the transition for high school students and what it is they have the time to do, what it is they are allowed to do, because high school teachers have a lot of restrictions on what they are allowed, and they have curriculum to cover and tests to teach to and that sort of thing, whereas college faculty are not constrained that way, though we do have our own constraints. So, but we want to listen to students and understand students and see what they're bringing. I mean, you are, like I said, the audience for this class. The purpose is to, in some respects, help you meet what other professors say about college writing, and to do so at the college level. So really we want to help you engage things. And really what we find overall is that we want students to have more practice engaging with ideas, participating in what we call writing to learn, and to flesh out your own ideas, as opposed writing to teacher as an examiner, where you tell your teacher the correct answer about this reading or this idea or that idea, or about the causes for the War of 1812, or what is a thesis statement. We don't have you do that kind of stuff too much, if at all anymore, really, in a college level writing class. But you will face that kind of writing in other classes where you are asked to essentially write out answers to a particular question that are right or wrong. Whereas I think, and I hope, what you see in this class is there's very little with regard to right or wrong. There is, when it comes to spelling and some punctuation, but generally speaking, we try to focus more on what works and what doesn't work. How well do we serve and meet the needs of the audience in order to achieve a particular purpose. So anyway, those are the 4 articles. Hopefully this little overview helps you out with choosing which ones. Like I said, I'm pretty sure all of you are going to read What Do Professors Really Say and are listening to students. And then your question or your decision from there is, will you be going to what is college level writing, or will you go to Occupy Writing Studies, about the need to focus on writers and students more like you. So if you have any questions, let me know. I will be putting in more information. One thing we have to do with this assignment is learn how to integrate this material effectively, and I will leave you with just one comment on that, with the use of sources. And the general thing we say is that your sources are to be used sparingly, like salt. And so if you've oversalted food, you know how it loses a lot of its palatability, whereas if you don't salt it properly, it's just not as good as it could be. So we use our sources like salt sparingly in order to develop your thoughts as a writer, and not to just fill out the page. So anyhow, that is it for this little introduction overview for the week and our readings. I will give you another video with a demonstration on how to work sources into your papers in a way that is effective, as effective as possible. And so anyhow, so I hope you have a good week. Get in touch if you've got any questions, and I look forward to reading what you have to say about the assigned essays. Bye-bye.